What's up, grinders and noble ones? Today we're going to be doing a react to this video from METATRON titled "This Will Be My Next Language." Now, I'm doing a react to this one because I got notified in the comment section and via a message in Discord that Evildea got a small shout out from METATRON in this video. So you know how these things work. You say my name on YouTube, next thing you know, I appear either in the comment section or in a reaction video. That's basically how it works with me. I need the content. Let's just be honest. I make a lot of videos. I need reaction content. And if I get a shout out or a mention, whether good or bad, I'm watching it. So let's begin.
Hey, noble ones. Welcome to Metatron's Academy. So it's kind of late at night here, and I thought I would answer a question that occasionally you guys ask me in the comments, and I haven't addressed because, to be fair, I wasn't really sure and still am not. But I thought maybe talking about it with you and reading your comments could be a good way to kind of come to a decision. So 2026 has started, and of course we began, both when I say we, I mean me and my wife, we started the year with our New Year's resolutions.
I also did that at the beginning of the year. I made a video on it if you guys want to go check it out. Basically, my New Year's resolutions were that I want to get good enough at Chinese that I can start making gaming videos, and I already started doing that on a separate channel, but because I don't like maintaining multiple channels, I will just start rolling those types of videos into my membership section here on YouTube. What else was my... Oh yes, of course, fitness was a big thing. So last year, I had major issues with my lower back. For those who don't know, I have a disc injury. Basically a protruding disc that it just caused me lots of issues. Every time I used to travel anywhere, I'd end up in bed for like weeks just due to pain. But I have been working on super long, deep stretches for the last 6 months. So I've been doing up to... I'm not even going to say up to, I'm going to say an hour minimum every day for the last 6 months, stretching my back, my leg muscles, everything related to that region. And I actually, today was kind of a breakthrough day for me. So what happened? Well, I actually went for a jog today. I did a 1 hour long jog. If I did that last year, like let's say early last year, I'd probably be in bed for weeks. So my fitness is finally starting to pay off. I was able to do a jog, and it fucking sucked because I hadn't done jogs in years, man, and it was so exhausting, but I was actually enjoying the suckiness of it because I was able to finally do it. I might make a video for members explaining what I, like, you know, everything that I did, stretching routine and stuff, if you guys are interested. But, yeah, anyway, that was pretty much what I've been doing. Yeah, I got more stuff coming up. I'll let you know when we get around to it.
All the things that we would like to happen this year. And of course, among the personal and family goals, there are also the linguistic ones, because I've been an individual who's passionate about languages for almost as long as I can remember. Although then again, I have to say that
this is a very big difference between me and most people who talk about or deal with languages on YouTube. Pretty much everyone else I've seen, they've been into languages since they were super young. Now, I've had kind of like a morbid curiosity here and there, but I did not realistically start learning my first foreign language until I was 21, or maybe 22. I came into the game very, very late compared to most people, and I did not study languages or linguistics at school. I was basically computers, programming, all that good shit, you know, went to the military, whatever, went down, then did acting and stuff, but like, languages did not come until much later in the game, and the reason why I actually wanted to learn a language is because I saw it as the ultimate mental challenge. That's why I chose Esperanto, because, like, to me, the language, like, which language was not so much the important factor. It was whether I could actually get to fluency in a language. I wanted to see if I was capable enough of doing that. I'm happy to say that I am capable. Thank you very much.
Really became a thing in my late teenage years, and I never stopped since. Now, as you know, I have reached fluency in a few languages, intermediate level with other languages that, of course, I would like to sort of pick up and push up a little bit in my expertise before I move to new languages. I'm going to mention the languages here so we know what we're talking about. I don't keep it vague. But here's the thing. So, of course, I speak Italian and Sicilian. Those are the two languages I speak natively. English is my first non-native language, my L2, that I picked up in my late teenage years. My following language, so we could say language number 4 or language number 2 as a foreign language, it would be Japanese. And I, of course, have a degree in Japanese from the University of Naples, L'Orientale di Napoli. And then when I was attending the University of Naples, I also took a minor in Mandarin Chinese, which would be language number 5. Language number 6 would be French, and language number 7 would be Spanish. So these are the languages that I have studied with a decent amount of effort. Of course, after these, I've studied Latin, but I'm not like Luke Ranieri. I'm someone who has an overall understanding of how it works.
Yeah, so for me, what happened is around 22-ish, I started playing around with Esperanto, and then I slowly learned it to fluency over. I don't. It's hard to say like how long it took me to get to fluency because even to this day, I'm still learning stuff, even though I've got like a C1 cert or whatnot. But like it was. I never envisioned myself actually learning another language after that. As I said, it was more to see whether I could learn a language. And then I met my wife, and I must have been about 26 at the time I met her. And I learned a couple of Chinese words here and there, but I never really had any intention of learning it. Then I tried learning it a little bit in my early 30s, but then other things took over in my life and it went on the back burner. Then, like 33-ish, I played a bit more again with it. And it was only realistically in like the last I would say 2-ish years that I've actually put serious effort into really trying to learn it. And obviously there's my Spanish challenge, which I'm doing for YouTube. So yeah, like he obviously knows a lot more languages than me.
So somewhat literate in Latin, but it's not a language I can actually have a conversation with someone. So that's why I don't include it in my languages, even though I have spent a few years in school studying it and then for personal study and whatnot. I don't like to count it because of that.
Yeah, like I did a tiny bit of Latin just for fun, like a chapter or two out of Familia Romana. Like enough to understand kind of how the grammar works, and that's it.
Okay, so these are the languages really we're working with. Now, I'm satisfied both with my English and my Japanese. This doesn't mean that I'm anywhere near perfect, if such a thing even exists when it comes to language learning, but I think I'm fluent enough, and I don't think I kind of want to maintain rather. And of course, if I can learn new technical vocabulary here and there, or an expression, or maybe get familiar with certain accents, that's always fantastic. But neither English nor Japanese at this moment in time are languages that I'm interested in focusing strongly, with one exception. When it comes to English, I already have a C2 certificate. With Japanese, apart from my degree, I don't have a certificate, meaning that I've never actually taken the Japanese language proficiency test or Nihongo no Ryoku Shiken. So I was kind of trying to think, should I try and do that this year? It would be a good way to brush up my Japanese, make sure it doesn't rust. And I thought maybe. So that it would...
Like, I only did the cert for Esperanto. I could have done the C2, but I went with the C1 because I'd never done a cert before. The only reason I did it, because unlike him, I just never had a need for it, okay? I did it because I wanted to know what these rankings entail from the perspective of someone taking an exam when talking about them on YouTube. You know, not just talk about it from what it says on paper, but actually have experienced it myself. So that's why I did it for that.
Be the only exception when it comes to Japanese. So perhaps... if I decide to, I might try JLPT this year. It's a high possibility. Just for a personal achievement, you know, nothing really that I would need in terms of work or for a possible career path or CV, just personal interest. So that would be Japanese. If you're enjoying this video so far, please take a moment to check out my Patreon page. With as little as a $5 support, you can help...
Wow, his memberships are quite costly. I think my membership is like $4.99 for the one that basically gives you everything. So that's like his lowest, his Guardian level. I need to give mine cooler names, although they're pretty cool.
Us ensure that we can continue to produce high quality and high researched content. And at the same time, you get access to polls, extra videos, unlisted streams, and much more. Thank you so much. So then really most of the effort when it comes to the first few months, and I've really been doing it, has been Mandarin, because I'm kind of intermediate. That's where I would place myself. And I'm not fluent. I'm not happy with where I am. And I kind of want to get to fluency. I want to be at least a decent B2 in the language. I don't have to become like someone who can speak about professional business related matters or explain medical terms or legal terminology and anything.
Okay, so for Mandarin, my challenge is, and based on the type of content, you know, I've seen METATRON put out in Mandarin and I put out as well. I'm slightly better in Mandarin than him, I'm guessing, like... that's what I'm thinking. But like realistically, where I want to take it is I want to get to the point where I can do gaming in Mandarin Chinese, like co-op streams with actual Mandarin gaming YouTubers, like the big boys out there. Like comprehension wise, I'm probably not too far off of that, but like actual production wise, I still got a bit of a way to go, especially in making sentences that sound less English-like. I've spoken about this before, but Mandarin is one of those languages where the way you talk about the world it's very different to how you would do it in a European language.
Thing of the sort. But I would love to be able to have a conversation, watch movies, play a video game, and discuss even history a little bit in Mandarin without having to look up words or struggling to express myself. Now, I've been putting a lot of work into Mandarin, dependent or because I am a busy individual, make videos, live stream 5 times a week. So comparatively, but I have been putting a lot of work into Mandarin, and I feel like I'm progressing very fast. And in fact, I'm going to be honest with you, I think I'm in a completely different place than where I was only 2 months ago. And I'm very happy with that, which means I truly believe that not only will I be able to reach the level that I want to have in Mandarin this year, but in fact, once that's done, it might be time to maybe work a little bit on French and Spanish. But what about, do I want to pick up any other languages? Well, to be honest, it's going to be a little bit of an hypothetical discussion.
I have a video that's either come out already or it's going to come out. It really depends on when my editor uploads these videos, okay, where I talk about the next language and my plans around that. So in case you guys are curious, either watch that video or wait for it.
Meaning that already Mandarin is going to take a lot of work. Maintenance on Japanese is going to take a lot of work. I use English every day for work, for making videos, and therefore that one doesn't really, and plus my wife is American, I live in the United States, I don't need maintenance for that, for English, but I do need maintenance for both Japanese and Mandarin if I want to make sure that I don't forget. And I'm more interested, rather than like adding silly numbers of languages to prove a point or flex, I don't care about that. I'm more interested in making sure that whatever level I achieve in these languages is maintained or improved upon.
Okay, for those who are curious where I'm heading with this, because obviously I'm starting to clock up a few languages here. And when I say clock up, I mean learning more and more languages. Okay, I'm not saying like I've reached a reasonable level in any of them. Like my Esperanto is in maintenance mode. It's like his Japanese. Like I don't really do anything with it. I just read a little bit here and there, have some conversations. It sits there on the back burner and I revive it a little bit every now and then when I need it. I'm not worried about it at all. Okay. Now, if my Mandarin Chinese, that's actually not my main focus language at the moment, although in some ways it should be. My main focus is Spanish, because for this channel I've got like collabs and stuff that I want to work on. The Spanish community is massive. I love doing the YouTube side of things. I enjoyed the challenge and I want to make sure you guys get regular updates. So that is my main language at the moment. My secondary language is Mandarin Chinese, but what I'm thinking is my next language, and I got a video on this, but basically my next language is most likely going to be my last language for a very long time. Okay, because when I do start learning it, there's only so much time in a day a person has, and you need to be smart about it. Like I can't just keep adding and adding and adding languages and trying to become a hyper polyglot, you know? And realistically, I don't want that for myself. So what does that mean? Does that mean that like I'm just not going to touch on all these other languages? I might do micro challenges here and there just to get like a taste test of them. But I foresee this channel not just dealing with languages in the future. This will be a channel where I help you improve in every aspect of your life. Remember when I said I learned languages as kind of a mental challenge to myself to see if I could? Well, there's many things I want to achieve in my life beyond just languages, and I want to bring you guys along for the journey and help you achieve those goals and, you know, kind of uncover the bullshit as we go and work as a community to improve ourselves in a more holistic manner. But at the moment, obviously, languages is my focus.
So yeah, realistically, any extra time that I could have, I would perhaps put it a little bit in French and a little bit in Spanish. But what about any other language if something happened and I have the time to do it?
Okay, this is where he's going to tell us all that 100% he's going to learn Esperanto because he wants to be a Chad like Evildea.
I think it would be modern Greek. That would be a language I would be very interested in actually trying to pick up. I know a little bit, not a lot.
I'm just sad. I was hoping.
Not a lot. That's why I don't count it among the languages that I speak. Believe it or not, I could speak a little bit about the history of the Mediterranean basin in Greek, but I can't really order a coffee. So it's kind of those weird situations.
Yeah, that's a language I've never considered at all, Greek. Both modern and ancient, just nothing about it attracts me. But after all, he is a religious Christian, so it has historical importance, obviously within the Bible and stuff. So like that makes sense that would be a language that would interest him. But yeah, not for me.
And so maybe I would do that. And for a completely new language, I would love to learn a Nordic language. Now, what would that be? Would it be Norwegian? Would it be Swedish?
The Nordic languages, again, is not languages that I find any need to learn or desire to learn. Like, I've thought about playing around with Icelandic on some random occasions in the past, just because of, its relationship with the Vikings and stuff, but, like, it's not realistically on the cards.
Finnish, Icelandic, Danish. Probably between Norwegian and Swedish, but Icelandic does intrigue me. What do you think? So already, I think all Nordic languages sound wonderful, but I'm not very interested in Danish. That's the one I'm interested in. At least if you are from Denmark, please don't take it personally. I'm not trying to offend you. It would be a similar situation if someone told me, hey, of all the Romance languages, Italian is the one I'm the least interested in, and I want to learn Portuguese or Spanish first. No offense taken. So kind of similar situation. I do think they're all beautiful, but Danish is the one I'm interested in the least because I've heard it, and just at a personal level, I find the other Nordic languages more beautiful to my personal ear. So that's
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, I never would have started learning Spanish if it wasn't for the challenge on my channel. I actually had no intention of learning another European language again. The reason being is after learning Esperanto and also speaking English, it's like I already have access to pretty much everything, within European culture. So if I was to learn another language, it would be one, I don't know, like my thought process was basically some type of East Asian language, or it would be Arabic or Hebrew, something, something in that region of the world that opens up cultures that are very different to my own. Like if I was choosing the next one, and I say if I was choosing the next one, you'll know why in the future.
Objective evaluation rather than it being objective. Perhaps to you Danish is the most beautiful, I don't know. Now, of all these languages, I find Icelandic gorgeous, and I'm very interested in it because of the fact that it's somewhat linguistically conservative when it comes to its connections and roots, Old Norse. You might ask them why...
Come on, just say the word Vikings, come on! You literally got the look of a Viking. Just say it, bro, you want to be a Viking. You want to be a Viking.
To learn Old Norse. Well, here's the thing. While I am...
Which is actually kind of crazy, because obviously his ancestors were probably fighting the Vikings, and they weren't the best of buds, so...
fascinated by all forms of ancient languages, dead languages, if you want to use that term. Not a term I particularly like, because I think it's a term that is misunderstood and therefore can lead to misunderstanding. I prefer not to use it. Ancient languages, whether it be cuneiform, whether it be frigging Akkadian, or whether it be Sumerian, Latin, ancient Greek, Old Norse, Proto-Indo-European.
Bruh, someone's just racing down my street outside the house. I should go fucking Viking on their ass. But I don't know why. I'm like in this tiny little circle area. There's nowhere to go. Yet people come around there like, rah, 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 and then they shoot off. Sorry to distract you all.
Yes, they're fascinating. However, due to the fact that time is what it is, we have limited slots. I could be interested in looking into those for translation purposes, but the amount of effort that it is required in order to actually memorize the vocabulary, gain both passive and active vocabulary, and being able to become fluent in a language, or at least conversational. I'm not going to do it with an ancient language simply because I can't speak to people. There isn't well, you can with Latin. I know there are like 14,000 speakers. I know that there are speakers of...
Wait, there's 14,000 speakers of Latin? I thought it would be way more than that. Where's that metric from? That's interesting. Like, I thought the number would be way bigger. I thought the number of Latin speakers was on par with the number of Esperanto speakers. Now, the number of Esperanto speakers, it's hard to say how many, okay? Upper estimates are like millions, but like conservative, more realistic estimates, I'd say hundreds of thousands.
Ancient Greek, it's not the same to me. It's not the same, and a lot of people will disagree with me, but to me it's not the same with my own personal interest, because I'm usually pulled to the idea of speaking to natives. That's the thing I love the most. I love interacting with natives, and I love that I can go to a country where everyone speaks that language, so that I can focus on the accent, mimic the pronunciation. Of course, pronunciations of ancient languages are reconstructed, and I think very well, up to a very high degree, but we can never know 1000% for sure.
Yeah, that's never really bothered me. Like, I've never really, like, if I learn a language, I do it for some random reason. One of the reasons doesn't have to be that it has native speakers or a country that speaks it. That's not ever been like a required factor for me. Although I guess with recent languages, what am I saying, recent languages? Like, I'm guessing for future languages, I would like to have access to lots of media of some form, which would therefore mean native speakers. So what am I on about?
So a lot of the things I teach them sometimes on the videos, and I strongly believe that we are as close as we will ever be, but maybe we are 70%. I don't believe we are higher than that when it comes to, because there are things that, who knows, perhaps if we were to resurrect an ancient Roman, we would be like, really? He pronounces his vowels like that? And then the other thing is that, as I say, I love the idea of traveling and going to a country, which is also one of the reasons why, even though it has a lot of speakers, comparatively to, I guess, ancient languages, I'm not interested in Esperanto.
I thought he was at least going to say it might be on the books because, Evildea, friend of the channel, he's always talking about Esperanto. I thought it was at least on the books. You didn't have to let me down like this, bro. You could have at least spoke to me privately. I need a moment, guys. I need a moment. I'm grabbing a drink. Okay, I'm good. Let's continue. He left this to the back end of the video. Bruh.
Because there isn't a country that speaks Esperanto. When it comes to natives, now they're starting to exist. Still feels a bit too artificial for my interests. I will, however, ask Evildea if he wants to come to the channel, do a collaboration where he schools me in Esperanto, because I don't know anything.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that, Metatron. Going to China in about 2 weeks, assuming the world doesn't erupt into World War. But when I'm back, totally down for that. In fact, because Metatron speaks Italian, he can read Latin, he knows Spanish and French. I reckon, realistically, within about 3 months, he could be... I don't want to use the word fluent, but he could understand it without a problem. Read it definitely without a problem. He would absolutely obliterate it. Because, when I look at Latin, when I started doing some Latin texts, Esperanto is essentially, simplified Latin in a lot of ways, with a lot of Germanic and Slavic elements chucked in, and obviously different parts of different languages. But the core of the language would be so easy for him to pick up. If he went hard for 30 days... he could probably be speaking with no problem. Now, I'm not talking in-depth politics or anything, but it'd be pretty good.
About it. So whatever I say is just a personal thing. This is how I feel. I'm more interested in languages that have a tradition that is long, it goes all the way back into the roots, which is why I think Icelandic would be a fantastic in between my interest, between something ancient and my interest that is connected to live communication with people, understanding their culture, understanding the way they speak, why they say certain things in a certain way, visiting the places, being able to become sort of connected to the people. That's why I learned languages, and also the challenge of it. That's an aspect I enjoy, which is probably why I went for 2 Asian languages. Would I not go for another Asian language? Maybe Vietnamese would be nice. Cantonese, if I had the time, I would love to learn Cantonese, but I've got to get that Mandarin to fluency before we even mention the word Cantonese. As I say, Vietnamese would be nice.
Got Oriental Pearl sitting over here in the corner who already speaks Mandarin, Japanese, basic Korean, doing Cantonese, going, come on guys, join me. We can do collabs together in Cantonese.
Korean, I guess, but I think I would be interested in Cantonese more than Korean, believe it or not. But then again, the number of times...
if I was to learn Korean, I shit you not, I would be learning the North Korean accent of Korean. Because I like to troll, okay? And that would be the ultimate of trolls. Half the shit I do on this channel is in some way related to trolling. That would just be the ultimate troll. But then I'd probably never be able to travel to South Korea. Because could you imagine a white guy rocking up in South Korea and then he's just rocking the North Korean accent? Bro, I'd be arrested so fast it's not funny. I'm pretty sure that would be a crime.
Tones in Cantonese. I mean, nothing is impossible if you put your mind into it, but you have to understand that some languages are going to be...
Yeah, so Cantonese is not really one that's on the books for me. The reason being is, Mandarin has been a big enough a struggle for me just because the type of media I like to consume and enjoy is not available in Mandarin, which is insane to say. For those who don't know, the film industry, for example, in China, because I love films, I love to consume films, okay? Not so much a book person, prefer films. Chinese media is heavily skewed towards, love relationships, modern stuff, and then ancient stuff. So empire, what are we talking about? Like, they call them costume dramas, okay? Like, this is basically where it's all the empire's got, oh god, I can't think of the goddamn words. What is the word for the person who runs an empire? Imperiestro. What is that in English? Emperor. Okay, so the emperor, I had to reverse engineer that one. So, the emperor, okay, and, like, all these concubines and stuff, they love that type of stuff, not so much making, like, sci-fi movies or, war, like, modern or futuristic war movies and stuff. Like, I love my sci-fi. I'm big on sci-fi. I love, like, Armageddon-style movies, although I know we're probably going to be living through Armageddon soon enough, but, like, I love this type of stuff, okay? And they don't make that type of stuff. I don't know why. It's just, they don't. And it makes it harder for me.
It requires more effort than others. So right now, possibly Icelandic or Swedish, Norwegian, I don't know. So one of these, possibly another Asian language, which in that case would have to be between Cantonese, maybe Vietnamese, and then the other, and then maybe modern Greek. These would be the languages that if I had the time or a incentive, something happens, I don't know, freaking whale, but Elon Musk tells me if you reach fluency B2 confirmed in 10 languages and you learn, I don't know, Vietnamese, Cantonese, and whatever the heck, and Icelandic, I'll give you $1 million. Then I'm doing it. I'm absolutely doing it. Of course, I'm exaggerating. I'm joking.
Can we make this a thing? Can we, like, spread a meme? Because Elon Musk loves the memes. Like, spread a meme that if you reach... Can we lower the number, though? I want to get the money as well. I don't have that much time, bro. Let's make that a meme, but lower that number a little bit.
But I say, if there were some kind of incentive, if it was like, I don't know, if you start making videos about your effort, your journey into learning a language, maybe we could try that, and these videos go viral. Of course, I would put that, because then there is an incentive. There is also... Funnily
enough, like, making videos about your language learning journey is probably the worst thing to do on YouTube in a lot of ways. There's not the views for that. People like to see either someone completely smoke it or someone bullshit about how good they are at a language and give some bullshit advice and then they just move on. Most people do not want to follow a journey. I love following journeys, okay, but they're generally the less popular videos.
Connected to a possible profit, if you will, so career path. But anyways, that's what I have in mind.
Okay, so that was a pretty cool video, except for the fact that he's not sold on Esperanto. We'll have to change that, my boys. We'll have to change that. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, sub to the channel. I've got about 10 seconds before my camera goes off and goes flat. And Elmo will find you and teach you Esperanto, because Elmo's fluent.